Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. As I frequently say, history tends to rhyme with itself when it comes to progression of various charts. So, is XRP doing something different this time? Well, that's a topic that's brought up by a popular chart analyst, and I'll share with you exactly what he had to say here, but let me just preface all of this by saying that even though, of course, it's true that history kind of rhymes with itself, it doesn't mean that you can't find, and this is kind of the point actually, in saying that it doesn't literally repeat, it kind of rhymes. You can find individual metrics and this and that which are a little bit different from cycle to cycle, or, expected ranges changing a little bit, or in some instances even a lot, but maybe the rest of the metrics still are the same. So you do get some fluctuations. It's not that one bull market for XRP or the cycle, or the crypto asset class at large. It's not that it's going to be some sort of mirror image, or even necessarily 90% of that, although it could be. But the point is, you can see individual things that maybe even make you feel a bit concerned, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's the end of the world. So we'll get into it. But before going further, I do want to be clear, I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. So I'll go ahead and start by sharing this post from chart analyst Rect Capital, and he shared this with his 540,000 followers on X just this morning. It's a Bitcoin USD chart, which is important to share because even if you don't hold Bitcoin or you're just not that excited about it, and frankly, I'm not either, even though it's one of my largest holdings. By the way, the reason I say that is it's not going to get much of a multiplier effect from here. If it doubles from here, I'd be pretty damn thrilled. But anyway, so Bitcoin USD chart on the screen here. And it's important to you, even if you're more excited about XRP, as am I, because Bitcoin leads the market, that's all. So anyway, he said, you don't have to look at the previous Bitcoin bull runs to understand that corrections are a part of the cycle. This bull run alone, Bitcoin has retraced, and then he cites 6 different percentages, and these are drawdowns, right, from various points in the cycle, going back to 2023. So that was after the FTX collapse in November of 2022. Bitcoin bottomed at like whatever it was, $15,000 or $16,000. And I think that was technically in January. I apologize if I'm slightly off, but that sounds correct. And so anyway, here were the percentage drawdowns, though, just to show you, since then, to show you that what we're going through now is absolutely normal. You don't even have to look back at a previous cycle, as he cited here. Again, he said you don't have to look at the previous Bitcoin bull runs to understand that corrections are part of the cycle. So the drawdowns were 22%, 20%, 21%, 22%, 23%, 26%, 30%, and the current one is so far 28%. So including this one, actually, that's 8. Okay, for this cycle. But that's kind of the point. Like, this is normal. And that's why for anybody that was freaking out, I'm like, are you new? Because there's no reason to freak out. And additionally, even if this did indicate we were entering a bear market, it still doesn't make sense to freak out because the asset class ain't going away. It can go down, but then you still get to hold the same quantity of each crypto that you hold now, and you'll have an opportunity to buy at lower prices if you so choose. So either way, this doesn't make sense to be freaking out. And one of the many reasons I don't freak out is because I have genuine conviction this asset class gets way, way, way bigger. So there's no trick to it. I just genuinely believe this. Now, if you're not so confident, or if you don't believe it, yeah, you're going to be freaking out. You might feel like, I need my money and my profits right now. I get that. But maybe do some more research and look into it, because there's a reason that so many people like myself have such strong conviction about the asset class and XRP specifically. But all of this is absolutely normal. And take a look at this post from Chart Analyst Mustache, #altcoins. It looks like Bitcoin dominance will repeat the structure of 2021. Very important 2-week close tomorrow. Things are looking very good for altcoins, to be honest. History doesn't repeat itself, but it often rhymes. And so this is the market cap Bitcoin percentage chart on your screen. And he's noting this looks kind of similar. We've seen this before. And we did, actually. So back here, years ago, going into the last cycle, there was a moment where Bitcoin dominance, market cap Bitcoin dominance percentage chart, again, that's what's on the screen here. So Bitcoin dominance is going up, And then people thought that it hit a peak, and then that was it for the cycle. And it went down, 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 down. But then it started a revival, and it went back up, and it wicked. So it's a wick, very brief, above where it previously was here, and you can see where I'm moving my mouse in the previous cycle. It wicked above that, but then it cratered on down. That is strikingly similar to what we are seeing here. We saw that, and not that the time frame is the same. It very clearly isn't. But that doesn't matter. The point is, this type of thing can happen. It has happened before. It happened last cycle. And history, again, it rhymes with itself. It's not exactly the same. So if that aspect of this is a little different, okay, that part's, yeah, it's not going to be your mirror image of the last cycle. But that's the point. So Bitcoin dominance climbed, cratered down, climbed back up, got a wick above. And if that aspect is going to roughly kind of repeat, well, then you're going to see it crater on down. Now, the thing about this is, set aside the fake out. I mean, I'm just calling it that. It's basically a fake out where you think that's the all-time high for dominance, but then, oops, no, actually we do go above it a little bit briefly. That aside, even if that weren't to happen, every single cycle there's been for 16 years, if you look at every single cycle peak, Bitcoin dominance does find a top and then it craters down. This time will not be different. I can't. It's almost unimaginable that it would not occur this way. But the reason I say that is chart analysis aside, because I'm not a chart analyst. You just use logic. Why would the humans not distribute Bitcoin and take profit, resulting in the dominance decreasing, and then those profits flowing into other coins to gamble further? Well, of course they're going to do that. That's a virtual certainty in my mind. Here's a post from chart analyst Crypto Michael. He said, when Bitcoin was at $100,000, people were saying they would sell their house and go all in on Bitcoin if it dropped to $70,000. Those same people are now saying it's over. Human psychology never changes. Okay, that resonated with me because I was like, yep. Because history rhymes with itself, and people are going to people, so they're going to keep having the same stupid-ass emotional responses and then use their stupid fat little fingers to type dumbass stuff on the internet. I mean, that's okay, though. Like, the internet is to whine and bitch about stuff. That's why it was created. And so it has absolutely achieved that. It has achieved its core goal from inception, unlike Bitcoin, which was supposed to be a peer-to-peer cash system, but it's technologically insufficient. But the internet, intended to be a vessel for whining and bitching about stuff, absolutely 100% achieved. You could check that box and move on with life. I'm very impressed with that, by the way. Now we have this post from Dom. And this is an interesting thought experiment. You can share with me, and I would love to hear what you have to say, your thoughts on this in the comment section below. But here you got a bunch of XRP charts. You've got, and they're all XRP USD. You've got the XRP in 2014, 2015, 2017, 2021, and then where we are now. So check out what he had to say, though. XRP previous cycle top comparison. I really don't know what to make of this current range. It's very complicated, in my opinion, because of the all-time high deviation. If this is a larger top in hindsight, it sure doesn't represent how all other tops have formed. This top had a swing failure pattern where it failed the next breakout wave. XRP has only done blow-off tops in the past where price doesn't revisit those levels. Share your thoughts below. And so if you're looking at the screen, it's easy to see what he's talking about. He noted particular movements up and then right on back down, and this one looks a little bit different. Now, I wrote to him, and at the time, I wasn't completely getting the cut of his jib, but here's what I wrote, and then I'll explain what clicked after he responded to me. So here's what I wrote to him. I said, as you know, I'm no chart guy, but in reference to your last statement, which is XRP has only done blow-off tops in the past where price doesn't revisit those levels. And then I wrote, in the first part of 2017, XRP went from about half a penny to over 40 cents, but then it did revisit lower levels. I don't remember how low, but it may have dropped to the 10 cent to 15 cent region before it ultimately rocketed to a new all-time high on January 4th, 2018. Maybe you meant something else in your post, but I thought I'd mention this, right? And then he responded, and then I looked at the chart again, and I was like, oh, I get what you're saying. So here's what he wrote in response. He said, I was referencing the levels of the blow-off top, the top price. Each time the blow-off tops happened, price did not go back up to those, the revisit. a revisit, he wrote in parentheses. I am referring to the high in December that was broken from the impulse in January. And so now if you look at this chart on the right, which is where we are now, you can see what he's talking about. So this first circle, that was the local high at the beginning. I know it peaked December 2nd just from memory. So that's what that would be, that highest wick right there. Then back down and then back on up. But then he's saying it failed to continue to the upside here. So that hasn't happened before. Now, there had been instances, so like I've mentioned before in the last couple cycles, and I was talking about it in that post, which is not what he was getting at, and I see that now. But how each of the last two cycles, XRP had its first major burst, pulled back down, and then had a final burst. That happened even last cycle with the SEC attack. It still moved in November of 2020 from like 20-something cents up to over 80 cents. Then it pulled back down before the SEC sued. And then even after the SEC sued and it went to 16 cents, it then still ran to $2, which wasn't a new all-time high, but it still ran. And that was about half a year apart. That was in April of 2021. And so then you can look at what happened with XRP 2017. That may have been March, April, May, somewhere around that area. And then a half year later, it ran again in 2017. So there were separate bursts. So that whole concept, I've talked about that a number of times on the channel before. So his point, though, is that this would just happen now. That's the part that's different. To have it go up and then back down and then up further, but then it just like it's broken down. So nobody knows for sure what's going to happen because we're living in real time. We don't have the benefit of hindsight because the future hasn't happened yet. We don't have the benefit of that hindsight. But I will just say this. It's kind of in line with what I opened with. Like, history tends to rhyme with itself. So in my estimation, the only real way that XRP is not going to go is if the entire market breaks down. Is that probable? I mean, I won't say it's literally impossible. Do I think that's reasonable? Do I think that's the most probable? No, I think the asset class is going to go way higher. I think Bitcoin's going to blast to the upside, new all-time high, at least one final leg up, and then it will peak, and that's going to happen. We'll talk about top indicators when we get there. But dominance is going to decrease for Bitcoin, which is what happens every single cycle. I don't think this will be different. Altcoins are going to run. So then if we're talking about this being some sort of pattern that indicates that XRP is going to move to the downside and that actually was it, then we'd have to believe that there's going to be a blow off top. Bitcoin's going to go. All of the altcoins are going to go. But then XRP is now like, I had my fun. I'm going to sit on the sideline and be a mopey little XRP. I don't think that's going to happen. That doesn't compute to me. I think it's going to run higher. I think it's going to move in tandem with the asset class. It's been showing tremendous strength the last few months. And so, of course, I don't know. Nobody knows for sure, but those are some of my general thoughts. Like, you don't have to be a chart guy to think about it in terms like this, like, obviously. But I'm just saying, if we're going to have that, it doesn't make logical sense that for some reason XRP wouldn't go, especially when the typical lemming retail speculator out there, they're not buying these coins because they have strong beliefs on the long-term viability of any of this, not even XRP. I mean, like you and I get it. Unless you're brand new, maybe you're still learning, maybe you don't have that. But for people that have been here for years, like, we've done our research, we understand this thing, right? But when you get into euphoria mode and your coins start rocketing, it's not because of fundamentals. It's because people are wildly emotionally speculating, and I'm still counting on that. I'm saying that would apply to XRP if that happens. That is what I'm waiting for. So no, I'm not fearful regardless. And so he was talking more so from a chart analysis perspective, and I get what he's saying now. I just didn't when I responded to him, but yeah, obviously now I get it. But just coming at this from a rational perspective from somebody who's been here for a while and understanding that this is how humans behave in this moment, it just doesn't make sense that XRP wouldn't run. Last cycle, it made sense that XRP didn't hit a new all-time high because the government of the United States was attacking it. That makes sense. XRP was the only top 10 coin that when the rally started, it's the only one that didn't hit a new all-time high. It's also the only one getting attacked by the SEC at that time. So duh, this is not hard to figure out. That part's not hard to figure out anyway. I think this goes way higher personally. You guys tell me what you think in the comment section below. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because if anything I say are right, that would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.